Hello, grant writers. Rebecca Tuttle here, founder and creator of Grant Right Now and Grant Writing for Good. Welcome to Grant Right Now Live. Horizons at the Ethel Walker School is helping young girls in Hartford, Connecticut make a difference in their educational outcomes. A national program, the Greater Hartford Horizons program, is recognized as the first Horizons program exclusively for girls. Executive Director Princess Hyatt joins Grant right now to talk to us about how her team is making a difference in the community and grant writing for good. Princess is a Hartford, Connecticut native. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree in English from Pine Manor College in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, as well as professional fundraising certificate from Boston University. Her development experience started at her alma mater for 3 years in their institutional advancement and alumni relations department. Following another 3 years in the Unitarian Universalist Association in their stewardship and development department. She has over 10 years experience in the nonprofit sector, and we're so excited to welcome her to our show today. Welcome, Princess. How are you this morning?
Hi, Rebecca. Hello, everyone who's watching out there. I am good.
Thank you for joining us. I can't wait to find out how you're innovating in philanthropy.
Yeah, it's been a big change these days in how our nonprofit programs look, right?
I know. And you shared a story with me, and I thought that is so creative. You have to come on our show and tell us all about it. But before,
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. But before we get into this story, tell us a little bit more about the Horizons program.
So the Horizons program is it's a nonprofit based at Ethel Walker School, and we cater to 130 girls in the Greater Hartford area, and we're a year-round enrichment program, and we are sure to make sure we provide offerings to underserved girls. What's great about our program is that we are the first all-girls Horizons program, even though we're a national program. And our mission is to make sure we reduce summer learning loss. Summer learning loss is, to break it down very briefly, students from underserved populations are more vulnerable to experience summer learning loss. So there's a 2 to 3 month learning gap there that compared to an affluent student builds over time. So we try to target that by offering year-round enrichment, swimming instruction. STEAM has been huge, cultural enrichment opportunities, mentoring, educational guidance. And this year we want to do a little bit more around mental health and wellness for our girls.
That's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about the STEAM element, because oftentimes you hear STEM, but you don't always hear STEM and then STEAM as being two different elements or two different programs.
So LEGO has been a huge funder and supporter and community partner in our STEAM program. We have started a Junior League robotics program for our girls. We usually, this past summer we couldn't do it, but we usually do a STEAM exhibition, and we offer that to the community and other close by Horizons affiliates. And that STEAM exhibition is huge. We have an article on our page on one of our past STEAM exhibitions. But we also have a STEAM instructor and a STEAM assistant. So we make sure that's built into our summer program. So the girls are learning things like coding. They're also learning, things like how to build a robot. We had this summer, which was our first virtual program, we had STEAM kits. And so we had several different activities that they could do at home. The Galaxy Goo was like one of the favorite activities for the girls.
Are you saying goo? Like goop?
Goo, yes.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yes. So it's amazing how much that STEAM portion has grown, but we want to make sure that's there. Our girls absolutely love it.
That's great. Now, what about the cultural enrichment? That's such an important element to programming and it has so many different areas of it. So tell us about the cultural enrichment. That's really interesting.
So that's also a big part of this past year. We wanted to make sure we had a research approach, curriculum based on teaching and learning with Black and Brown girls and immigrant girls. There's not a lot of research around the approach you take when you're in the classroom. And so what we did in this past summer, I'll keep saying this past summer because it was a virtual summer, but we were sure to include those pieces. Something like telling us where you're from, where your upbringing is, what your background is. So a lot of our girls had like international flags, Jamaica, whatever country they came from. And the teacher would share, what makes you, your family, what kinds of things you want to share from your background. So they were able to do that even virtually. And so you make that connection with your students when you're being culturally responsive in your teaching. But we also are sure to have SEL in that's social emotional learning, in our outcomes for our teachers. And they're also trained every year. And so this helps you connect to your student, and your student also feel comfortable connecting with you. Once you have that connection, your student, they're more of an individual versus a whole kind of class structure. You're not putting them in this group. You can connect with them. They can learn better. They'll flourish better. And that's better for the teacher too.
Absolutely. I like how you said it's better for the teacher too. Absolutely. And there's a special kind of teacher that can make those connections with students. And what we find in school is sometimes it's so fast paced, there isn't time for that connection. I really appreciate how Horizons is making time to make those connections.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a great program over there.
Yeah, this summer, that connection was even more important in this virtual space. A lot of our students were having to face Wi-Fi accessibility issues, not having a device. Some of their parents, they weren't, key to logging in, and all of these things we kind of take for granted because we live in this world, that our students from those populations are really being affected.
So you're touching on the innovation that you had in your fund development strategy. If you want to tell us a little bit about what did you do about that? Because that is a national crisis. Kids don't have access to the tools they need to just transition like that to distance learning. But you all took charge and said, we're going to make this happen no matter what. This is the story I was mentioning to everyone when you came on this morning. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about it and how you pivoted and innovated there, that would be great because it's such an amazing story.
So I'm just gonna brand 2020 as a pivot 2020 year. Hashtag pivot 2020. We in March, the news broke. It was a pandemic. So that meant that our major fundraiser had to get canceled. This was in person. We were expecting about 150 people. So then now we're thinking, what are we going to do? Everything has to be virtual. We can't meet in person. So that means our Saturday Academy program, that could not happen. And so what we switched completely, we offered a Horizons homework helpline for our students who were behind in assignments and who needed extra help. So we had a one-on-one kind of tutor situation there. We had one student who was behind by about 60 assignments, and she was able to slowly catch up in school. And then we also had an online event, a fundraising event, which I did with a magician / comedian. So everything completely shifted. And then we had to go with our 3-week virtual program. And we called it Horizons at Home because we had to make sure we delivered those educational pieces and those learning materials to our students. So that was STEAM kits, devices for students who needed them. We had a grocery card, a grocery store gift card, because we, in our program, we are sure to make sure our students have lunch, breakfast, and a snack. And so all these pieces in our program, we kind of had to compact in this package to bring home. But my message to our supporters was that our girls needed us more than ever. I can't imagine what our girls are having to go through, much less the whole, nation and world with all these students who are having to to switch from being in the classroom with their peers and their teacher, a safe space, to being at home where things have changed dramatically. And so my message to our supporters was that our girls really do need us now. And so things like transportation, since we can't have an in-person program, that we were asking if some of those funds could be reallocated for things like devices. And so we had to kind of switch our funding needs and prioritize. But our supporters were like, yes, whatever they need to have their learning experience, engagement and flexibility, community. That's one of our key things. And so we focused on that this summer. And yeah, I also had a baby this summer. And so we were just.
Congratulations! That's exciting.
Yeah, I didn't say too much about myself, but I am a mother of 2 boys. I am an advocate for access and opportunity in education. I am a recent graduate. I just got my nonprofit master's program in nonprofit management and philanthropy. And I love fundraising, and I love what I do, and I love the cause, and I love my girls.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations. You have a lot to celebrate. We should be toasting. You have a coffee cup, we should toast you. Cheers.
That's all I can do.
Wonderful. You know, Horizons is a national program. I imagine some of the ways that you're pivoting and innovating, you must be influencing some of the other Horizons programs around the country to kind of follow the same lead, because what you've done is quite remarkable. I know for, fund development, it's really scary to reach out to funders and ask them, what if we did this, or might you shift your funding toward this? Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people who are in our field have confidence like that, and you did it, because I love what you said about our girls needed it, and there was really nothing that was going to stop you from helping them. So how about the national model? Could you tell us how you're bringing good to your community locally, but also on a national scale?
So on the national scale, there are around over 50 affiliate Horizons programs nationwide. And you can imagine that all of us are going through the same thing. We're getting ready for our summer. March hits, and then fundraising events can't happen. Everyone is kind of shuffling. And so Horizons National made it their motive to make sure that we all had a place where we could plan together, even in this emergency mode, right? And see what will work, see what wouldn't work, brainstorm. That's one of the benefits that I get to work with other educational leaders in the equity work. So sharing ideas, platforms, approaches, what worked in your program, what didn't work. And it seemed that we were all going through the same thing, right? So I believe we had like weekly meetings. One was based on COVID response, one was based on, summer programming. But I work closely with Horizons at Westminster, which is at the Westminster School. Most of the Horizons programs are based in private school sectors. And so we tag teamed it. That's what we did. So a lot of the Horizons at home, that branding, a lot of our programs had to do it kind of the same way, where they have book bags and materials that I would deliver to the girls. I urge all of the viewers to go on our Facebook page to see a snapshot of our summer, to see what it looked like. But yeah, we're all in this equity work. We're all going through the same thing. And so we kind of tag team this, and a lot of us did it well. And then we learned. Now we have more time to plan for whatever may come for the summer 2021.
Now, it's no secret. It's really difficult out there for a lot of people, especially children. And I also think young women, young girls, they really need a role model and positive influences. So if you were to share, because you are a tremendous role model for young women, if you were to share a message with them, just to let them know that it's going to be okay, or, what would you say to them to help get them through this, what we're going through right now?
So that's so funny. my goal was to make sure that everyone knew what our we have a Horizons pledge, and our girls say this pledge every day of the program. And I just want to recite that to everyone because it's a beautiful message. And you'll love it. And you can, this is an affirmation, so you can say this to yourself every day. Um, Here it is. I promise to lift other girls up, have their backs, and make it safe for them to be exactly who they are. Every time I look in the mirror, I'll remind myself that I am not alone, that I am beautiful, that my voice matters, and that I am enough. And I think this message is crucial right now. We are going through a time and space where we have never seen anything like this, and you need those things to kind of pick you up, especially when it comes to. I mean, my girls, 100% of them are of color, and so having to face all these things around racism and civil unrest, and those are things that they need to hear right now, that they matter.
That's a beautiful affirmation, just as you said, and you could even hang that up and just when you're discouraged, just read it. That's a beautiful message. Thank
No,
you.
it's funny. In my office, we have a painting, and it's usually my background when I'm doing meetings, but I'm working from home now. But it's a lovely painting, and it has our pledge on it. So it stands behind me, and it gives me power.
I like that. That's terrific. Now, how can we get more involved? Because it sounds like a lot of fun over there, with your STEM and your STEAM programs, your, the teaching program, the summer learning loss element, but also the comedy show and you said magician?
Yeah.
How can we get more involved in either attending some of your programs and events or supporting you, maybe becoming some donors or volunteering with you? How can we get more involved?
How can you all get involved? So all of that you said, we absolutely need volunteers. We absolutely love. We had some speakers from Comcast, some women who talked about their career as a pathway for our students. We would love to have speakers. We are preparing for an event in tribute to the founding director, Isabel Ceballos.
Isabel, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she is. She is. She's been a great mentor and supporter of even my growth personally, professionally. And we just want to honor her. She had a vision when she started this program. The program has grown, and she's moving into a new role. And so I'm taking after her lead. But we want to pay tribute to everything she's done in the program. She also stepped in for my maternity leave this past summer. And so we would love sponsors. We would love for you to attend the event. I'm gonna put that link in. Let me see if I know what I'm doing here.
You can put it in the comments.
Let's see. I'll try that. I'm trying. It's not working. I'll make sure that that's there so that you all have access to it. But absolutely, volunteers, please show up to our events. We're hopefully going to have one in the spring outdoors. And subscribe to our e-newsletter. That will keep you updated on what we're doing. I know the website is right there flashing, horizons.ethelwalker.org. You can get to our Facebook from there. You can also subscribe to our e-newsletter, which will keep you apprised of everything that's going on. But definitely support. I think this year we're planning for different models. And so that might mean hybrid, that might mean a hybrid model, that might mean in person, virtual, but whatever it is, we need to make sure we have our program. And so that means funding. Funding opportunity is always there.
Your program is focused on the summer learning loss. And I know from my work with Isabel in the past, your girls don't just make some gains, they make tremendous gains. And almost jumping 2 grade levels in some areas of literacy. I know that that's quite remarkable. And I'm so curious. I'm going to call it out right now, actually, because I'm so curious. We are losing so much education right now with this transition of distance learning and hybrid model in this pandemic, that I imagine that the innovations and the pivots that you're putting into place, having already been an expert in addressing the summer slide and summer learning loss, that your Horizons program could serve as a tremendous model for even public education around the country to help them with learning loss in the summer, yes, but also learning loss as a result of this pandemic and setting folks up for success going into the new year, because we don't know how long we're going to have this transitional education around. So I'm calling it out right now that everyone should pay close attention to the innovations of Horizons, because you make such a difference with the young women that you are helping every day. And I've seen it firsthand, and it's been a delight to watch the girls when it was in person. Um, just the smiles on their face and the friendships that they have, and your board members are so engaged and involved, and the volunteers and the teachers. It's really tremendous. So I think people should take advantage of going on your newsletter, reaching out to you, and participating with you, because it's great. And I'm so happy that you came here today to share with us what you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Rebecca, and thank you for calling that out, right? Because our students, we're used to that summer learning loss message, and being partners with our host schools, but also our feeder schools where our students come from. I think now more than ever, we're really combining efforts to make sure that we can do as much as we can throughout the year. So we're offering way more than we would have offered as far as like virtual spaces, because our students need it more now. And so this is going to have a long-term effect. Our offerings are more important than they've ever been before. And so I'm glad you called that out, because our students are suffering. But that's why it's important to make sure programs like Horizons exist.
And flourish, right? It's not enough to have you here. We have to support you and make sure
I didn't even touch on our students. So our students are pre-K through 7th grade now. And when Isabel started the program, I believe it was 2 grade levels or 3 grade levels. Our students have grown the program from pre-K, K, and now they're in 7th grade. And hopefully, we'll expand that to high school. But imagine that being in this program, and the sisterhood and this community, and we have to make sure we keep that bond, and that yes, they are making exceptional measures of success with their math and reading, and so yes, we are continuing the work. The work continues.
I love it. Is there anything that you want to leave our grant writing community with? You're grant writing for good in so many ways. But is there anything that you want to share with everyone before we sign off?
I just want to reiterate how, we're all going through this right now. Our program looks very different. We've had to pivot due to the pandemic, and we're continuing to pivot, right? And adapt and figure out what works and what doesn't work. But I think what this pandemic has done is not people have lost their lives, their jobs. There has been incredible loss, right? But there has been moments where we can find the opportunity to grow and be better. And so, offerings are super important for our students. We're reaching out to community partners, supporters. We want volunteers to be on board. So please reach out. I would be, even if it's a conversation about how you can contribute to our program, please do. And thank you so much for having me, so I can talk about our program and our girls and the mission, and what I love to do.
Absolutely. Now, when is your event? I want to put the date in the chat or the comments for everyone.
The event is Saturday, November 21st. And I believe it's at 4 or 5. It's in the evening. It should be posted on our website, and it's called Honoring Her. And it's in tribute of Isabel's leadership.
Very nice. And they can go to your website and register and all of that there?
So we have a save the date out first, and RSVP will be an option soon, but not yet.
All right. Well, you'll keep us in suspense. Well, thank you so much. It's been amazing. You are really leading the innovations, not only in the grant seeking and fund development, but also in the work you do with young women and young girls, and also with education. And can't thank you enough for coming today. I want to put a plug in. Princess is actually coming back to my other live show. She's going to join us on Coffee Time with Masterminds on October 30th. So we'll get to hear even more about your wonderful work that you do. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will see you later. Bye, grant writers.
Bye.